the best 30-second pitch is 29 seconds. Because nobody ever listened to a pitch and said, I wish that was longer.
I'm not sure if there's more that I should be saying. Or I kind of feel like I should be saying less.
We're going to Frankenstein this, as I call it, into an actual pitch.
Ideally at its core, so like the information that was shared right now, it would be what's in our beta version, not necessarily what it ends up evolving into to be this like billion-dollar company.
Final step, you're going to read it. All right, Joyce Romero, welcome to Kitchen Table Pitch on Humble Conviction.
Thank you so much for having me, Brian. Great to meet you today.
You bet. Okay. What's the name of the company?
Cuatro.
Quatro. Okay, I love it. I know very little about this company. You literally sent me one sentence and we spoke for 30 seconds. Give me your 30-second pitch.
Yeah, of course. So Quatro is an AI bilingual guidance counselor, really focused to help navigate the immigrant parents to navigate the U.S. education system.
To 30 seconds where it is crystal clear. You have to be a dummy not to understand what it is. Let me ask you a few questions as we're winding up to this, because we're going to have a little worksheet we're going to work off of an exercise, but I want to make sure I understand things so that when we're having that conversation, it's productive. Okay, so let me ask you a few things. So there are 3 features. One was Siri, one was roadmaps, and another one, I forget because there were so many. Can you just try to tell me those 3 again clearly?
Yeah, so the first one is Luna. And so it's like you said, it's a Siri and ChatGPT coming together.
It's like a voice agent.
Yep.
Okay.
The second one is the clear roadmaps. So that's specifically milestones that has been personalized for the specific student.
And what's an example of that? Take these courses, take the SAT, get college brochures, figure out financial aid, that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. So for example, in 11th grade, most of us know that you should take the SATs. But we're prompting parents, let's say at 10th grade, with one of these notes that says, you should start finding a tutor. So then by the time 11th grade comes and they know to take the SATs, they would have already done the prep necessary for their child.
Okay. So basically there's a playbook for doing this stuff that lots of people who maybe come from privileged or people who've grown up here, backgrounds, it's second nature to them, right? As part of the society, part of the culture. But if you're a new immigrant, you may have no idea what any of this stuff is. Would you say that's correct?
Exactly, yep.
Okay, good. And then the third thing?
And then the third one is the community platform aspect.
Okay.
So parents can engage publicly and privately amongst each other. And that's just to protect also their privacy. Sometimes parents don't want to talk specifically about certain items that they wouldn't want others to know that it's them.
Right. Got it. Okay. Tell me about your story and why you started this company.
So my parents immigrated from Ecuador to the U.S., and so when they came here, they couldn't speak any English and really had no network to really lean on. And so as a result, they actually ended up putting in some of the worst public schools in America.
Where was this?
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That's where I grew up.
Wow. Right on Route 81 there.
With that, I ended up really having to figure out things from ground zero. Both my first language was Spanish because that's all my parents knew. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to teach myself what a GPA was, what a scholarship was, but not only for myself, but I have a younger brother and I have a community of just other family relatives that really needed to also understand the system. So I ended up being this pillar for all of them to really kind of guide them onwards. And so I've seen throughout me navigating the system, but also just my community where they were struggling and where that guilt really comes from.
Yeah.
And that's where Quatro really came to life, understanding where the system breaks and really what it takes to actually fix it.
Great. It's important to know that because, it's humble conviction, and part of the conviction can come from customer research or understanding the market or market size, but a lot of the conviction has to come from inside. And people can tell whether you're pitching investors or partners or whatever it is. And again, whether you explicitly tell that story or they just sense based on your knowledge and your emotion, it's so important, which is why I'm asking about it up front. But that said, let's get into the actual words and structure of this pitch, because I think we can do a lot and make it a lot better. So I'm just going to open this up here. And I have a worksheet that people can get. It's called the 29-second pitch playbook. And why 29 seconds? Because if we're really aiming for a 30-second pitch, the best 30-second pitch is 29 seconds. Because nobody ever listened to a pitch and said, I wish that was longer. Right?
Yeah.
Right? So, if you aim for 29 seconds, you probably get it about right. Okay. And there's a link in the description. It's free. Everybody should download it and try it. Okay. That's my advertisement. Okay. So this is trickier than it sounds. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you have a copy there if you want to glance down at it too. A question like, what is it, right? Just answer that question. What is it?
It's a multilingual platform to help immigrant parents navigate the education system.
Okay. What I want is, it is a multilingual platform. Right?
Okay.
Just like literally, what is it? Is it a consumer app? Is it a service? Is it a whatever? Okay. So I'm going to write down, do it. It's a multilingual platform. Okay. Who is it for?
Immigrant parents.
For immigrant parents. What problem are you solving? And like, an important thing here is it doesn't have to be a whole sentence. You don't have to convince anyone of anything. It's just like blurting out 3 or 4 words. So what problem are you solving?
Navigation of the education system. And, okay, we'll leave it there.
Nope.
Use the short answer.
Navigation of the education system, middle school, high school, upper secondary, whatever, college education.
So our sweet spot's from 6th grade all the way to their first professional job.
Okay, that's pretty broad. Okay, so we'll leave it at navigation of education system. We'll talk about whether that's the right thing to be pitching. Okay, what is the benefit to your users? So when they use Quatro, not the features, not what it does, but how it benefits them.
So they're able to now fill in like the information gaps that were like that they didn't know.
Okay, not very compelling. What's the end thing that they really want? Parents want the best for their kids, right?
Okay.
When they succeed and when Quatro helped them, what do they get that they wouldn't have had otherwise?
I probably know. Okay, it would be the first professional job.
Okay, first professional job. That's the main benefit. Okay, let's loosen it up a little bit because we can be a little flexible.
Okay.
Right? So there's a better way to say this, but it's really success. This is not succinct enough, but like success at like the successive stages of education eventually leading to a professional job, right?
Yep.
Okay, so maybe we just say successful educational path leading to
Okay.
first professional job, right?
Yep.
If you've done that, then you have succeeded. And
Yes.
your customer who's your immigrant parent is like, thank God for Quatro, I couldn't have done this otherwise, right? Okay. Now, what are the most important features? Now, this is what does the product actually do that the parents actually use that gets that benefit?
So Luna in itself provides the opportunity for parents now to really break down the barriers in regards to just like translation.
Things like breaking down barriers aren't like, you're already off into like argument thing, right? Like if it breaks down barriers in translation, then it translates. Like, does it do something? Does it translate a specific thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So
What does it translate?
it translates the content on the platform itself. So like the educational like material. So for example, when we talked about like the roadmaps, that is one of like the benefits where now they're able to see information when they actually need to know. So like on a weekly basis. So they'll have like mandatory and suggested, let's say like to do. So like
Is that translation or is that just being multilingual? Like you're saying are you saying what it sounds like is you're translating your own stuff? But isn't that just the being native multilingual?
So I guess there's 2 sides. So if we're kind of going back to Luna, so the way Luna
is the module, right?
Luna is like the Siri Chat GPT in one.
But that's your proprietary
Yes,
one. Okay,
yes.
got it.
And so Luna in itself will have the opportunity. So if we think of like Siri, right, you can just like talk to it. So for example, like parents sometimes don't have the education, sometimes even just to like understand specific words or like terminology, that kind of stuff. So they'll be able to kind of like speak into it, but then also be able to like read out loud for them.
Isn't that what the new AirPods do?
Exactly. So like something similar to that. But in the aspect here is that like one, also if we're talking about like AirPods, is that there are these like price points in regards to translation that people who are like immigrant parents span the like income thresholds.
You're saying those are too expensive. That hardware is too expensive. They're never going to do a purpose-built hardware purchase for that plane. So it's affordable translation, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get through the
Yep.
three things.
Yes.
And then I'll go back and pick them apart.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to put just as a shorthand affordable translation,
Okay.
right, of necessary materials.
Yep.
Okay.
The other one is like the benefit is them now being able to see all of the information in regards.
Noted, this is features now. You did the benefits. The benefit is they have a successful educational path leading to their first professional job. Now, the how. What is your product that lets them do that?
Okay, so
And you said the first thing is Luna, which is affordable translation of necessary materials.
yes. Okay.
Give me, you get up to two more. And you gave me three features, so tell me what those are.
And so the clear roadmaps specifically, those are on it's by week, it's weekly, monthly, and yearly, and that's like specific information. So
So
where
are
we're
they like adaptive content roadmaps?
yes,
Okay, right. So adaptive roadmaps, right?
Yep.
That's content that is adaptive, right? Like
Yep.
it changes per the person, per their path, right?
yep,
Okay, good. So portable translation, necessary materials, adaptive roadmaps, and
and then the last one is the community aspect. So it allows parents to just interact and build community amongst each other in regards to just education.
okay, so community.
So ideally at its core, so like the information that was shared right now, it would be what's in our beta version, not necessarily what it ends up evolving into to be this like billion-dollar company.
Okay.
So
Well,
right,
always pitch the vision. Always pitch the future, because what people are investing in, they're investing in, that's a whole section, which is like what we have today,
yep,
right? Or what's next. Or when you invest the first $500,000 into me, it's going to get me this modest list of things that will provide a proof of concept. But my vision
yep,
for world conquest is something else,
Okay.
right? So it's got to be something bigger than that.
and I think like that's where like the Quatro in itself brings in a variety of different elements that are currently just like very sectioned off and also just like not easy for people to understand, and it's just very complex. There's a lot of nuances with education, and the point of Quatro is specifically not like, okay, like let's get, and we kind of talked a little bit about earlier, it's not specifically let's get you into a prestigious institution,
Right.
but we now have the access and opportunity to know how to kind of navigate those systems, because there are specific different playbooks to get into different areas, whether that is parents want their child to get into a trade school. So we have that information and those insights there. If somebody wants to go into the military, they have that opportunity there.
Isn't it really the vision, without having to be too specific,
Yep.
is that it's really an educational co-pilot for the children of immigrants, many of whom, regardless of their destination in life, many of whom have trouble with the language, have trouble with the culture. We make it all simple to them and give them a path to professional employment, whatever that may be.
I think that definitely sounds better.
Yeah.
And I think that like where we were at with the guidance, I guess how it's portrayed with it being a guidance counselor is because the model of it being like an assistant for a guidance counselor, because a lot of how Quatro would be is similar to kind of a guidance counselor, or because in the US it is one for every 250 students.
Yep.
There is not that assistant or like that even
And
vision or
then they
guide.
may not be and probably aren't in culture, right?
Yep.
It's how we make money.
So the B2B aspect in the long-term vision is more so we're selling it into schools. They'll end up having the opportunity to be with a guidance counselor, so assist a guidance counselor, or it'll be with an ESL department. The other side of
Yeah. Okay. Or ESL. Okay. So B2B schools, guidance counselor, or ESL, and
the second part to this is the B2C aspect. So parents will actually have the opportunity to purchase this through a subscription model.
good clear answer. What is different about your product? And this is a competitive question.
Yep.
But there's two ways to answer it. One could be there's existing products out there that you're better than, or it could be there's nothing, but there's an old way of doing something that's just failing. So how do you think about being different?
So I think about it from two different lenses. So one of them being that like the majority of products that are out there to assist or guide students, it's mainly led by teachers. or it's specifically for the student and not necessarily the parent. So they're not really focusing on this like family engagement aspect. Two, a lot of the information does tend to come through like the organizations that exist. They'll have like in-person sessions where maybe it's like workshops or conferences.
Okay, you just gave like 5 minutes of like, what is the main thing? Like, so I am your target customer. I am the school district, right? You pitch me, I'm impressed. I'm trying to decide, should I do this or should I use another company that you're better than? Or should I do nothing that you're better than? How are you different from, can you identify other companies that are doing this? How are you better or different approach? And 3 words.
So a company that exists is Talkie Points.
Okay.
And so the way we're different is that we really facilitate a strong family engagement and think about every part of the process.
So holistic and family engagement, basically.
Yes.
Why is this a big opportunity? And this is a way of asking market size, but I'm not a huge fan of like just saying it's $1 trillion TAM. Like, it's a way of telling a story. Like, what's the reason? If there's $1 trillion, what's the reason? Is it demographic changes? Is it so what's different about your product? And this is also a why now, really.
Okay, no, I know. Okay, so right now, currently, there's actually a big push for the newcomer programming, and so with that being said, a lot of I've talked to schools where they're pushing this programming and really being able to provide the assistance to immigrants has been top of mind.
What happens if you get skepticism about the hostile immigrant political environment?
So I've had conversations with someone from the Century Foundation to kind of get more like additional insight into just like what does that look like and how you kind of go about those kinds of conversations because of the current climate. And so one of those is leaning into the actual like rules that like exist, or just like laws. Like for example, they have like different mandates that they have to do, which is focused on like equity and inclusion, like diversity that schools actually do have to lean into. And so really making sure that like, as we're having these conversations, we're also talking about the different kind of holes and aspects that are important for schools.
Don't you think, I don't mean to, this is
no,
off topic, but it is pertinent. I mean, this is what's going to be going through an investor's mind because they're thinking about what's the risk here, right? Wouldn't certain like undocumented newcomers be hesitant to just like subscribe to anything because they'll go after you for anything now. If they can find your name, like they'll find you.
Yep. So that's why security and privacy is very important also in our app. And as we're like developing, we're keeping that in the back of our mind.
Okay, let's go back to this. Okay, first generation, low income public school, I assume, to Columbia Vista. Good. Now we're going to take all that. We're going to put it into a format that it's an actual pitch.
Perfect. I also feel like to an extent, I have been kind of like uncertain in regards to like how much to say versus not how much to say.
Like in a pitch or public?
I guess, well, both.
Quatro is a multilingual platform for immigrant parents. So what problem are you solving? Navigation of educational system, benefit, the successful educational path leading to their job, right? That for immigrant parents, right?
Yeah.
That lets kids navigate the educational system leading to their first professional job. Let me read that to you. Let you appreciate what a tight sentence that is.
Okay.
I'm not going to, by the way, forgive me for not saying Quatro. I don't speak Spanish.
No.
Quatro. No, it's correct. But Quatro is a multilingual platform for immigrant parents that lets their kids navigate the educational system leading to their first professional job.
Perfect.
If the lights went out, you get it.
Yep.
Interesting. I like that idea. Tell me more. Okay. Now, let's talk about the benefits of this successful educational path leading to that. Oh, we already did that. Wow. Let's talk about the features, how it actually does that. Okay. This is where we're going to have to pare down the wordiness a little bit, right? So you have affordable the translation of the necessary materials, adaptive roadmaps, and a community. So let's see if we can put that into a sentence that kind of feels like a thematic whole. Is there a way to do it so that it's more than just a list? I don't know if affordable goes there. And I'd like to put it in the active voice. So I'm going to rush here. Translates reams of essential written. Actually, you know something? Think of it as a culturally native guidance counselor.
Okay. I see what you're doing there.
Right.
Okay.
So this is, metaphors are great. You don't want to be a cliche Netflix for cats.
Yeah.
But it's a great little punchline at the end of it. Quatro is a multilingual platform for immigrant parents that lets their kids navigate the educational system leading to their first professional job. Think of it as a culturally native guidance counselor.
Okay.
Okay.
I like what you're doing.
It translates reams of essential written materials into the native language, right? Provides adaptive roadmaps for things like applying to colleges, and offers families the community support they need, a community engagement they need to support their kids. I'm intentionally going back and reading it each time. Quatro is a multilingual platform for immigrant parents that lets their kids navigate the educational system leading to their first professional job. Think of it as a culturally native guidance counselor. It translates reams of essential written materials into the native language, provides adaptive roadmaps for things like applying to colleges, and offers families the community engagement they need to support their kids.
But I understand what you're saying in regards to just being direct and pointed, which makes sense as to why I would just say B2B.
Okay, I have an idea about how to combine two things. Okay, we sell to school districts, especially those experiencing a large influx of immigrants and not nearly enough guidance counselors to serve. Then if you have a conversation, you can wow them with the 200 to 1 number, right?
Okay.
And then let's save the last sentence for you. Let's keep it short. I've experienced this personally as a first generation immigrant. I would say Ecuador, just because it makes it specific. Specific is always better than general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Immigrant from, were you born in Ecuador or your parents?
No, my parents were.
From an Ecuadorian family who went from a low income school to a degree from Columbia Business School. I know you're going to shoot a degree, but you will have. Okay. Let me read that back to you.
Right.
For two purposes. Number one, we're going to time it just to get a first take on how long it is. It's going to be longer than 29 seconds. And then also, I want you to just listen carefully and tell me if it makes sense, if it flows. It's not going to hit everything, but if it hits the essence of what you want to say.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't have a phone. Could we use your phone to time?
Yes.
Okay. Quatro is a multilingual platform for immigrant parents that lets their kids navigate the educational system leading to their first professional job. Think of it as a culturally native guidance counselor. It translates reams of essential written materials into the native language, provides adaptive roadmaps for things like applying to colleges, and offers families the community engagement they need to support their kids. We sell to school districts, especially those experiencing a large influx of immigrants and not nearly enough guidance counselors to serve them. I've experienced this personally as a first-generation immigrant from an Ecuadorian family who went from a low-income school to a degree from Columbia Business School.
I think it captures the essence very well. I think it's very tight.
Great. 41 seconds there. Should we talk about how to cut it a little?
Yeah.
Now let's do it. That's the final stage.
Perfect.
You might not get it to 30. I'm ruining my brand here. I'm advertising 29 seconds. And we're stuck at 41. So let's just first go for word by word and see if we can cut out some words.
Okay.
Then we'll see if we can structurally change it so we're combining sentences or phrases or things like that. Okay. Quatro is a multilingual platform. We don't need multilingual. We talk about the translation.
I guess my concern with that is because I think that multilingual is one of its core essence. Like, I know we talk about like the translation later on,
Yep.
but that is such a strong feature.
Okay, so it's essential. For immigrant parents, that lets their kids navigate the educational system. They do their first, do we need professional? I mean, isn't every job a professional job?
Yes, every job is professional, but I guess the difference is that there's a difference between, like, for example, like, let's say like working at Sheets versus like we're trying to get you into like a more like higher.
But let me challenge that for a second. Yeah. Isn't the spirit of your platform that everybody has to enter the workforce somewhere? And if the choice is like not having a job and living on the dole versus working at Sheets, which is a perfectly dignified job,
Yep.
Wouldn't you rather, if you could help people choose Sheets, wouldn't that be a good choice? Or join the military, which a lot of people wouldn't think of as a professional job in the same way.
Yeah. So I see what you're saying and where you're coming from. And I think that, like, I guess I'm trying to figure out then, like, yes, in the sense that like there's even like at Sheets, like there's like career paths, like you could become a manager, you can end up moving up the ranks on that side of things. But maybe I'm also just wondering maybe what kind of word we can utilize to differentiate between even, let's say, like,
What are you trying to exclude? Like, what would you say if they go through Quatro and they get X job, we didn't do our job?
I think it's more so like excluding or like not allowing people to think that, like, okay, like when you're like in middle school, we're going to get you your first like job in middle school and like you're done there.
Oh, you mean like grown-up job?
Yes.
Not like after-school job packing groceries.
Exactly.
I see.
That's what I'm trying to differentiate because, yes, I agree with you that Sheets you can move up or like those kinds of
Okay,
jobs.
so maybe job is the wrong thing. Navigate the educational system and build a career.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Because isn't that careers have
Exactly.
a future and dignity and
Okay.
a few syllables left. Navigate the educational system and into a career. Yeah. And the trick if it's going over is not to speak faster. But you see, I'm pretty expressive, right? I do the pauses. I speak with my eyes a little bit. I speak with my hands. You're a good communicator. I'm sure you can do that too once you're comfortable with the material. Okay. Quatro is a multilingual platform for immigrant parents that lets their kids navigate the educational system and into a career. Think of it as a culturally native guidance counselor. It translates reams of essential, confusing written material, provides adaptive roadmap for things like applying to colleges, and offers families the community engagement they need to support their kids. We sell to school districts experiencing a large influx of immigrants and not nearly enough guidance counselors to serve them. I come from an Ecuadorian immigrant family, and I went to a low-income school all the way to a degree from Columbia Business School. 36. Good enough. Good enough.
That was great.
Final step, you're going to read it.
All right, I'm ready.
That's the only way to know if it really feels right to you. Talk and I'll hit when you go.
Okay. Quatro is a multilingual platform for immigrant parents that lets their kids navigate the educational system and into a career. Think of it as a culturally native guidance counselor. Translates reams of essential, confusing written material, provides adaptive roadmaps for things like applying to colleges, and offers families the community engagement they need to support their kids. We sell to school districts experiencing a large influx of immigrants and not nearly enough guidance counselors to serve them. I come from an Ecuadorian immigrant family, and I went from a low-income school to a degree from Columbia Business School.
33 seconds. Oh. Beautiful. And when we would do pitch practice at the ERA Accelerator at the end, you would be pitching that to 2 investors, and I'm hosting it, and I would always ask them, would you take a second meeting? And if I were that investor, based on that pitch, I would take the second meeting.
Wow. Thank you.
Congratulations, and thanks for letting me work with you on your pitch. I think it came out pretty well.
Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate it.
You bet.